This is the Science Weekly Review for weeks 5 and 6, grade 6 at the International School of Innovation. Let's start with the sexual reproduction and flowering plants. We know that different flowers, they vary in color, shape, size, and number of their petals. The stamen contains the pollen grains, while the stigma contains the ovules of a flower. What are the different parts of the flower? The flower is the plant part needed for making new seeds. The main parts of the flower are sepals, petals, stamens, and pistil. Let's start. Anther and filament, they compose the stamen, while stigma, style, and ovary, they compose the pistil, or it has another name which is the carpel. We have the corolla, which is the sum of petals. We have the calyx, which is the sum of sepals. We have also the receptacle and the peduncle. Let's start with these parts of the flower. Let's start with every definition. Starting with the first term. First part, this is called the petals. They are the flowering parts or the coloring parts. Yes, what is the definition of petals? Can you, Jamil?
Is a colorful part that attracts the pollinators.
Pollinators, excellent. That's it. Petals, they are the colorful parts of a flower. Their bright color, their beautiful color, and beautiful scent attract pollinators. What are the examples of pollinators? Can you, Adam, give us one example of pollinators?
Bees.
Excellent. Another example, Razan? Butterfly. Another example, Ali? Wind is a kind, yes, some plants they can carry pollen grains through wind. Another example of pollinators, yes, Muhammad?
Birds.
Birds, excellent. These are the pollinators. While sepals, what are sepals? Look at this figure, these green parts, these are the sepals. Can you, Kamel, give us the definition of sepals?
They are
Leaf-like parts.
part
Yes.
that protects
The flower, excellent. That's it. They are the leaf-like parts. They are green in color. They protect the developing buds, or they protect the flower as it is growing. Sepals are the green leaf-like parts. They grow at the base of the flower. Sepals, they help cover and protect the developing bud. Moving to other part is the stamen. The stamen is the male or the female part, ya Malak. Malak. Stamen is the male part or the female part? Male part. Excellent. It has two parts. What are these two parts? Yes, Muhammad Ali.
They are the filament and they are the anther.
Okay, thank you. It are the filament and anther. The pollen grain is the male reproductive cell in a flower. Look at this figure. This is the stamen. It's composed of the filament. This is the filament, and this is the anther. Okay, let's move to another slide which talks about the pistil. Pistil, Adam, is the male or the female part?
The pistil is the female part.
Excellent, it's the female part. How many parts does it contain? Yes, Jad. 3 parts. What are these parts? Stigma, style, and ovary. Excellent. And this figure, this is the pistil. It's composed of the stigma. This is the stigma, style, and the ovary. The stigma, it traps and holds the pollen grains. It holds the pollen grains on it, on the stigma. Yes, it contains the pollen grains. Excellent. While the style, it leads down to the ovary that contain the ovules. Now, we are going to distinguish between complete flower and incomplete flower. First, yes, Hassan, what's the difference between complete and incomplete?
Incomplete.
Yes,
This one.
they miss one of the parts. Yes,
Complete.
contain all the parts. Yes, excellent. Some flowers, as we know, they are complete flowers. So the meaning of complete, ya Shahad, complete flowers means they are composed or they contain sepals, petals, stamens, and pistil. While other flowers are incomplete, meaning that they miss one of these parts. Sexual reproduction. What is sexual reproduction? What is the definition of sexual reproduction? Sexual reproduction or reproduction in general is the process by which an organism make more of its kind. They reproduce, they give new ones or new members. In sexual reproduction, an egg combines with a sperm to form the seed. What are the different steps of sexual reproduction? Ahmad, what are the different steps of sexual reproduction? First, how many steps there are? 3 steps. Can you list them, please? Pollination, fertilization, fructification. Excellent. Jamil, pollination is done by the aid of whom? By the aid of pollinators. Excellent. Please, pollination. Can you, Sharif, can you define the term pollination?
Pollination is the transport
Yes.
and pollen grains from the pollen grains from the stamens go to the pistil.
Okay, it's the transport. Excellent. It is the transport of the pollen grains from the stamens to the pistil. This is the definition of pollination. While second step, as we see in this figure, we have these animals. Yes, it's called the pollinators. Have the pollen grains on it. Okay, moving to fertilization. Can you, Celia, please define fertilization step or fertilization process?
The pollen grains reproduce sperm cells which travel down the tube. Each sperm cell combine with the egg to form in the ovary to form a seed.
Excellent. It's the combining of sperm cells from the pollen grains with the egg cells in the ovary in order to form what? In order to form seeds. The last step, it's called the fructification. Fructification process. Heba, can you define fructification? Fructification step?
After fertilization,
Yes.
the calyx, the corolla, and the stem dry and fall down.
Yes, they dry and fall down. What happens then?
The ovary
Yes.
enlarges in size to become liquid.
Yes.
The
And the impregnated seed, they become what? They become impregnated ovules, sorry, they become seeds. Excellent. This step is called the fructification. After fertilization, the calyx. What is the calyx? Can you know? Yes, Shahid. Definition of calyx. What is calyx? The sum of petals or sum of sepals? Sepals. What the sum of petals is called what? Camel. Corolla. Excellent. After fertilization, the calyx, the corolla, and the stamens they dry and fall down. The ovary enlarges in size to become the fruit, while the impregnated ovules they become what? They become the seeds. Now we're gonna move to another lesson which is about the vegetative reproduction in plants. First, we have to know what is vegetative propagation. First, let's see. Adam, is it a type of sexual or asexual reproduction?
vegetative reproduction is a type of
Asexual reproduction. Excellent. Thank you. Muhammad, it involves the production of flowers or the production of seeds. If you can say it produces seeds.
yes.
It produces seeds. What do you think, Razan? Produces seeds? It's a process by which new plants are obtained without production of seeds, Ya Muhammad. Without production of seeds. There is no seeds. Where new plants can be obtained from the roots, stems, or leaves of the mother plant. This is the vegetative reproduction or the vegetative propagation. is a type of asexual reproduction. It's a process by which new plants are obtained without production of seeds. New plants are obtained from the roots, stems, or leaves of the mother plant. Let's move now to the types of vegetative reproduction. What are the types of vegetative reproduction? Yes, Hassan, how many types do we have? 3 or 4? 4 types. Can you list them, please? Growing from rhizomes, that's the first one. Growing from cutting, yes. Growing from runners. Excellent. Growing from rhizomes. Growing from cutting. Growing from runners. And growing from tubers. Let's start with the first one. Growing from rhizomes. What are rhizomes? Yes, Celia, can you define rhizomes, please?
It's an underground stem that grows horizontally near the soil surface.
Excellent. They are underground stem. They grow horizontally near the soil surface, where roots and buds develop at the nodes and they grow into new plants. Let's move to the second type, which is growing from cutting. Can you give Muhammad definition of growing from cutting? What the meaning of growing from cutting? Do you know?
The growing from cutting is when cut a part of the mother plant.
Yes.
Yes, and a whole new plant comes out.
Okay. Some plants, excellent, Muhammad. Thank you. Some plants they can be reproduced from a cut of piece of a stem with few leaves on it. Can you give us an example of plant that can grow from stem cuttings? Yes, Hiba. Geranium plant is an example. Another example, Kemal. Ivy plant, thank you. The piece of stem is called a cutting. It's called a cutting. That's why we call it growing from cutting. Ivy and geranium are plants that can propagate from stem cutting. These figures show the geranium plant and the ivy plant. Other plants they can grow from leaf cutting. Do you know a type of plant that can grow from leaf cutting? Yes.
Pineapple.
Pineapple. Excellent, Cayman. Thank you. The third type is growing from runners. Yes, Ali. Can you define runners? What are runners?
Above ground stem.
Above ground stem. Excellent. That grow horizontally. Excellent. They are above ground stem that grow horizontally and produce new plants at the nodes. Strawberry plant reproduces asexually by forming runners. Example of runners is the strawberry plant. Moving to the fourth type, which is growing from tubers. Example about plants that can grow from tubers is, yes, Adam?
They are potatoes.
Potatoes. Tubers, they are underground stems that store food. Example of potatoes, example of tubers is the potato plant. They grow underground and store food. As shown in this figure, they are tubers that grow underground and store food in order to give us the potato underground. Excellent. This is the weekly review for grade 6. Thank you.